Hi, in this video I'm going to talk about thread deadlock situation, and I'm using a Java program to demonstrate that. This program, you would have seen it in multiple books and on multiple internet websites, so there isn't anything new in the program. It's just that you are seeing it in practical form. So I have a simple application, a console application in Java, and in the main method I am calling or creating an object of deadlock class, and I'm calling deadlock start method of this particular object, this particular instance. So let's see what do I have in deadlock. So I'm creating two objects here, one of class A and one of class B. There's very peculiar thing in these classes. Let's just look at them. So in class A, I have these methods, func and last. Both are synchronized. Func takes B, which is object B of class B, and then it does a little bit of printing here just to demonstrate the thread deadlocking. It then calls b.last, and same is the structure for class B. It takes the object of class A, and then it tries to call a.last as well in the method. Both the methods are synchronized here, so that's what these classes are. Now coming back to deadlock class, the constructor first names the current thread as main thread, and then creates a new thread with the name racing thread. And this method, which is called from the main method, it starts the thread, which is the racing thread. It starts that, and then it also has a statement for the main thread to execute method func of instance object A. It passes object B. So this statement, what it does right here is that the main thread puts a lock on this instance. So both the methods in object A, which is func and last, are locked. No other thread can access that. Now if you see what do we have in the run method? In the run method, we are trying to call object b.func, and it passes object A. So this thread would try to execute object A.last, but it can't execute that because that is locked by main thread. So that is where the deadlock situation arises. Now you would see that I have some print statements to demonstrate. So you would see this statement getting printed first, because although you have started the thread here, but the main thread still executes this statement first, and then the racing thread gets executed. So you would see, yeah, thread, the name of the main thread, this getting printed, and then you would see that thread, this got entered, and then probably you will see trying to call b.last, and then you would see trying to call a.last, and that's where the program would get stuck. The deadlock situation has surfaced. So let's see. All right. So that's what happens. It first printed racing thread enter b.func, main thread enter a.func, trying to call b.last, trying to call a.last. I believe the sequence could change depending upon which thread gets to execute first, but that is less of interest here. The interesting thing is that the program is just hung now. So that's what the deadlock situation is. Let me just first stop it and let me just run it again to see that whether main thread gets to print thread main thread a.func first or not. Yeah, it does that. So it's just the like which thread gets to execute the code first. Anyways, the important thing is that we have seen the deadlock situation. Now Usually you would write better program. You won't write this kind of crappy program which would lead into deadlock situations. But you can imagine, like, if your program is highly evolved, there are multiple threads that you are setting in and creating and letting them execute so that your program can solve problems faster. You could land up in these type of situations, and then you would have to debug that where the deadlocking is happening. Now, in this case, if supposedly we want to make sure that the deadlock is does not happen, what we could do, a very simple one. Obviously, we can change the structure of how the code is written, but just in the interest of time, if you put a synchronized method before the racing thread calls object b.func. So what we are doing here is that we are doing a synchronized here. That means b won't be able to access object a uh, until it has been freed by the main thread. So that's what it will do. It will just wait up, and in that case, the A would get executed first, which is the main thread. Sorry, the main thread would get executed first. It will complete all the instructions there, and once it is out of this statement here, that's where the racing thread will get the control of object A's for synchronized methods. So let's see in action. So first I will have to stop it because it was hung. Now let me just run it. Wow, so the processing just finished. That's what happened. It entered into the main thread, and then it was trying to call b.last, and then it entered b's function last, and then it came back to the main thread, and then it picked up the racing thread. So that's about what I wanted to talk in this video. Do let me know if you have any questions for me, and I will get back to you